You're going to be in for a treat. This is a crash course in futility. I think that's the word. Anyway, what we're doing is we're going to do a installation of Proxmox on Debian 13. Or try to. Stay tuned. So we're going to go ahead and download from Debian. You go to debian.org/download. You can download, of course, Debian 13, which is Trixie. We're going to do the net install version for 64-bit PCs. You can choose, of course, any version that fits, but in the case of Proxmox, you're going to not be able to use ARM currently. So you download the Debian 13.5.0 net install. Click that, and then we move to the next step. So next up on the agenda here, we're going to go ahead and select your next images, which is Debian, the 13.5.0 ISO you downloaded. Select that. It's going to allow you to select BIOS or UEFI boot. Pretty much leave things as default. You can change the volume name if you really want to. In this case, I'm just going to drop it to Debian. You don't have to do that. It's just something I do. Go ahead and hit start. And then what you're going to want to do is choose between write in ISO and image mode, which is recommended. So we're going to do that. But you can also write in DD image mode, which just basically does an actual, bit by bit transfer to the USB. Used in some situations, you don't need to do that. So just hit OK. Then it's going to go ahead and say, hey, you're going to use a format here, SysLinux 6.4, blah, 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 blah. Covers all of this. The new version of SysLinux are not compatible with another. So you can say yes to connect to the internet and download the files, or no to cancel the operation. So we're going to say yes, and that's going to download all the files that it needs. Hit OK. Now I'll expand on Rufus in a later video. So in case people want to know some more in-depth, what each setting does and stuff. If interested, go ahead and leave a comment just saying, hey, show me the Rufus, and we'll, I'll get you a video on it. Next step. So we're going to start with a few things here. For one, you're going to go ahead and try to log in with your login. And then what you're going to do is go through and do apt update. I'm going to actually say apt-y update. So it just gets started. All packages are up to date. Hit apt-y full upgrade. And there is nothing to upgrade. If there was, you would let it do its thing and then reboot. Now, your host name needs to be a fully qualified domain name. If you home host name ctl set host name to whatever you want to call it, PVE in this case, RavenHawkTech.net. That has been set. Now you're going to want to check your host file. You'll notice that the setting here is 127.0.0.1. Actually, excuse me, 127.0.1.1 for the PVE. That's not what you're going to want. Next step you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and create your host file record. So you're going to go ahead and do this command right here, etc host \\eof, hit enter. 127.0.0.1, excuse me, 1 equals localhost, and your IP address you created earlier equals your PVE, for example, .ravenhawktech.net, and then PVE for the short name, hit EOF, hit enter. Now if you go ahead and do etc hosts, you can see that they're set correctly now. You're going to go into, say if nano's there, for example, or V. So if you go vim, v, nano, any one of your ones, I prefer nano. You're going to go into etc ssh sshd config. You're going to find the line prohibit root login. Now, eventually you're going to want to secure this and switch it back to prohibit password, or just remove it entirely and make you do a login as a local user, then root. But for now, you can change, just permit root access to yes. Control O, Control X, and then system ctl restart sshd. All right, we're going to switch over because the next couple of steps require a little more finesse. I'm going to backpedal 2 steps because if you do an ifconfig, which does not exist, you can do IP address if you need to. You can see that it's 155. I did not teach you one step, which is my fault. So first off, I want to have my tools. So I'm going to go ahead and do one thing first, which is app-y install net tools bind utils. I'm going to do telnet for me to be able to do telnet testing. And you'll see it's not bind anymore. I forgot. It's named utils. No. I think I'm thinking of Rocky. That's just net tools. That's fine. Now we can do ifconfig. There you go. Now, there's several ways of doing this. The easiest for me is you just nano etc network interfaces. You're going to find the allow hot plug. You're going to change this to auto. That just brings up that interface on boot. You're going to go and do static address 0. I did 240. We're going to fix that as well. This one's 241. Net mask 255, 255, 255, 0 in my case. Gateway. All right. Now you can do, for example, in some cases, DNS name servers, and then put in your actual name server here. It doesn't like it all the time, and it won't like it when you actually get into Proxmox. So don't do that. Instead, go to nano etc resolve.conf, and you're going to see your name server here already. Don't worry about it unless you need to change it. And we're going to fix one thing. We're going to go nano etc hosts. I did set it to 241. Why didn't you guys tell me? Anyway, we're good there. Networking restart. So you can do service. You can also do system ctl restart network. Networking, spell right. Now, if you look at it, you should see there's 0.241. All right. Now we switch to PuTTY. You're going to see I'm logging in as root, which you'll be able to do. Now, following the guide, one of the things you'll see is a wget. What that does is basically the repository we're going to install. This basically is going to set up the trusted GPG key, set up the Proxmox key, and then of course echo the deb repository for PVE, Trixie, PVE, no subscription, into the PVE-install-repo list. Hit enter. Now you're going to do another apt update. Let it do its thing. In this case, you're going to run into an OpenPGE subscription failed. Error code, missing key. And that is because I need to update my document, apparently. Yep, I need to update my documentation, which I will do. So in this case, follow the... By the time the video posts, the new information should be out there, but you can always follow the pve.proxmox.com article. Anyway, you're going to put in this command, which is basically going to do pv install blah, 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 and it's going to be signed by Proxmox Archive. And we're just going to verify by going to etc apt repos, no, sources.list. Anyway, you'll see that there's two here. There's an install repo sources and then the repo list, because we had the two. So if you had followed me and got to this step, what we're going to want to do is remove the repo list. So sudo rm pv install repo list. Oh, there's no sudo. Well, that's going to have to be fixed. So we did a net install. What did we just find out? Well, there is no sudo. So what we're going to want to do is apt-get, or excuse me, apt-y install sudo wget curl bind utility, or not bind utility, excuse me. I just do throw in git further, so we have that. Let those install. So you can see PVE, sudo nano PVE. Nano is not spelled right. Nano PVE. You can see now, of course, it's signed by the key, PVE, so forth. All of that stuff is now there. So now we're going to return to home. You should be able to go up here, go to apt-get. Where is it? Apt update, and it should work. Supposed to have worked by now. Okay, I figured out the problem. So, in the article, there are new keys. So what you do is you go ahead and do the wget, and you download these new keys. Now it should work. Okay, I did a review. Seems that there is a known issue for this problem. So you go ahead and you download this keyring, apt update. Oh yeah, would help if I installed it. So you do a dpkg and you install the keyring, and you go ahead and you're going to say yes. Now install the new version, apt update it. Okay, now you can see it's upgradable. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to do this command here, apt modernize -sources. Yes, it just wrote the new modernized source. Now you can actually do apt update and an apt full upgrade. These are the services and stuff that are going to be updated. You hit yes. I'm going to do its thing. All right, now you're going to go ahead and do the install of the default kernel. Hit yes. And then run into another default. Network is unreachable. Okay, you'll notice that these are all IPv6 upgrades. So in this case, there's something wrong with my IPv6 stack. Something that you're going to probably want to do anyway for your install, unless you're going to go with IPv6. Go ahead and nano your grub. What you're going to do is you're going to find the grub command line Linux default area, which I'll show you here in just a second. All right, that is right here where it says quiet. I'm not going to do the splash or anything, but I am going to go ahead and add IPv6.disable equals 1. Save that. Now do this with extreme caution because you can really mess up your system. Make sure you double check what you saved. Anyway, update grub, let it do its thing. And then you're going to have to reboot, which stalls us for a little bit, but it's fine. Anyway, so what we were trying to do before we got rudely interrupted is install the Proxmox default kernel. Now, hopefully, it should work. Reminds me I need to fix my IPv6 network. Okay, looks like it might be DNS. First off, it is always DNS. When in doubt, remember that it's always, like I said, always DNS. Let me actually resize this window here. There we go. Okay. That being said, we're back to now. It is the postfix configuration. Hit this. I'm going to go ahead and you can either choose local only, no configuration. If you have ability to, you can set up it as an internet site or internet with smart host. That's where you connect through to the internet to another host. I'm just going to say local only. Hit OK. And I'm going to go ahead and just leave that. Hit enter. And while this is resolving, it's always DNS. In this case, it's also always a secure router. See, my firewall has a security package installed that basically blocks vulnerable sites. And for some reason, it's flagging that site, which I'm going to have to whitelist, as a vulnerable site. So it wasn't letting me download it from there. Now, it could be the site URL itself, or it could be the site content. So either way, I'll have to dig into it, and that's not for today. I just bypassed it by doing Google's DNS, and I'll show you that as soon as it finishes here. And like I promised, Etsy resolve.conf. I just put, like I said, name server 8.8.8.8 and 8.8.4.4. That and restarting the network allowed me to fix the issue. All right, now we've already installed Cronny. So now you're going to go ahead and do apt remove Linux image, AMD 64 Linux image 6.12. Say yes to remove it. Now you're going to go update grub. Now we're going to do this command, apt remove OS prober. And the reason is because it scans all partitions on the host to create a dual boot grub entry. We don't want that, so you just get rid of it. Now, if all goes well and everything goes according to plan, okay, if everything goes so well, you would go ahead and put HTTPS, your IP address, :8006. You'd hit advanced, you would go ahead and accept the risk and continue. And now you'll be prompted with the ability to log in to Proxmox. Hit there, ta-da. Did this go well? No. I left a lot of the flubs in there. I decided not to redo the video, even though I probably will later. The reasoning is things don't go well. Things don't always go perfectly. So, what did this teach us? One, always check your router. If you have a router, you have security features and firewalls and things like that, check it. What else did we learn? If you can't download something and you can ping it, it might be DNS. In this case, it was DNS and my firewall. So anyway, that being said, thank you guys for watching this video. Please visit RavenHawkTech.com for further tech tutorials and tech news, including I'm going to update this guide to include some information that we discovered along the way here, including the fact that the GPG key is not written right in the article. So I'm going to fix that line in my article. And otherwise, please make sure to leave a like if you like the video, subscribe if you want to know more about what I'm doing, hit that bell icon so that way you can get notified when I post. Come back next Friday for the next video. All right. Thank you very much. Bye.